Welcome to the Trending Topics podcast. A quiet revolution is currently underway. The EU Digital Identity Wallet is a technology that will completely change how we deal with digital identity in Europe, both in our private lives as well as in business. My name is Jakob Steinschan and I'm excited to welcome Sebastian Zehetbauer, the Chief Product Officer of YOUNIQX Identity, and Stefan Vogt, the Chief Technology Officer at YOUNIQX Identity, to discuss this quiet revolution of digital identity. Welcome to the podcast, Sebastian and Stefan.
Hello.
Hello.
To begin the podcast, I would like to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. So what's your role in YOUNIQX Identity?
Yeah, I'm Sebastian Zehetbauer. As already mentioned, I'm the Chief Product Officer of YOUNIQX Identity. I joined the company almost 15 years ago, and my focus today is really bringing the EUDI wallet on the ground, because I think it's a major change on how we are going to use digital identities in the near future.
My name is Stefan Vogel. I'm CTO. As already mentioned, my main focus is to give this EUDI wallet and digital identity the technology that it needs to bring it to the people.
Awesome. So we have two veterans of YOUNIQX here in the podcast. So let's start with a brief introduction of the company. Can you summarize what your company does in one sentence?
One sentence is a little bit hard. So the YOUNIQX Identity was founded in 2017 with the focus on bringing a digital ID and physical documents within or to one application. So we really want to help people how they use the digital IDs. So what we are doing is, or what we have achieved until now, is we introduced the Liechtenstein EUDI scheme in 2019 with the technology I just mentioned. And in 2022, we also were able to win a contract with Austria that's mainly focusing on digital documents like the driver license, vehicle registration, proof of age, proof of ID. So what we do is we want to help people identify in their daily lives as digital as possible.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So basically, like, millions of people are using your technology in terms of digital identity. What would you say? What's the main use case now?
So the main use case right now in Austria, I would say, is using the driver license and the vehicle registration in a roadside check, because it were the first credentials that we brought to the e-Ausweise app. And I think it's a very useful use case, because that's what people are used to. That's something people know. They know how a roadside check works. And it's really a practical thing to have your driver license and your vehicle registration in an app available. You don't have to bring your documents with you. And it's a really nice, as far as you can say that, from a roadside check process to do that from your mobile phone. And in Liechtenstein, it's basically to authenticate towards an online services. And we are having almost I think it's up to 150 transactions every day, and based on the population of Liechtenstein, that's really a great success.
Mm-hmm. So, and YOUNIQX, from my understanding, is a pioneer in the European Union in terms of digital identity. What's the reason for that? Like, what's the background of the company, and why did you decide to go into this direction?
The Austrian State Printing House already in 2012 decided to look at what's going to be important in the near future, and how will identities evolve. And the process we started there led to an application called MIA, which was introduced in 2015. That was way ahead all others around the world. So we really started this process very, very early. And I think that's why we are successful, or very successful today, with our applications in Austria and Liechtenstein, but also outside the European Union. And now we are ready to go forward and help countries introducing the EUDI wallet in the near future.
Mhm. I think like in the digital space, a lot of people like started using the identity with things like Facebook login, Apple login, Google login, and now the EUDI wallet is coming. Stefan, can you explain us a little bit what is it?
So, as Sebastian already said, and what the Staatsdruckerei realized rather early is that identity is really the basis for every digital society and for all digital use cases, because for everything you want to do, you need a basis for that, and that's the digital identity. And you already mentioned like Facebook and Google. They also saw this, and they also know that this is very important, and that that's also the reason why they started to offer this this service to people. But of course, their goal is to sell something, and that's mostly your private data, your personal data, and they did a good thing, but from maybe not the right reasons. And so the EUDI digital wallet has the same idea to give people a digital identity. And that was already started in the EU with EUDI 1 and now EUDI 2. And what's the difference to the Google ID or Facebook ID is that all the data is stored decentralized on your smartphone. So if you, for example, use your EUDI wallet in any use case, for example, to open a bank account, then nobody else besides you and the bank knows about this transaction. And that's the idea, to have all the data decentralized and to give people the privacy they need for all their digital transactions. And this gives trust into the whole system, and this will be the thing that makes it finally work.
Mm. You already mentioned the driving licenses that work with this. What other use cases can you think of? You just mentioned banking. What do you think, like in the near future, what will be the main use cases for this kind of technology?
So, in my opinion, the main use cases will, in the first step, evolve around the documents that people already know very well. So, as already mentioned, the driving license and some kind of basic identity or ID card or something like that. Because that already opens up a lot of use cases besides the roadside check, but you need your driving license rather often, in fact. So if you want to rent a car, for example, you need your driving license. These are all manual steps at the moment. So you have to go there, you have to show someone your physical driving license, for example, to get the car. In the future, this can be done completely online, and you go to the car rental, you take your keys out of some kind of safe or something, and you go to the car and drive away. No need for any for any manual physical transaction anymore. And I think these are the use cases that makes the life really digital, because you don't need another person there to whom you give your driving license, for example. But also hotel check-ins will be a big use case, because also there you need your identity and you have to go there, you show them your passport. And at the moment we have a lot of bridging technologies, so to say, to make this possible with video ID, but also with sending pictures of your passport around the world via email. So just imagine, email has the security, is the security equivalent of a postcard. So if you go, people can remember, like 20, 30 years back, you send a postcard. Would you really put the picture of your passport on the postcard and send it around the world? I don't think so. And so, yeah, there are technologies, but I think EUDI wallet will be the next step to a real digital identity.
Maybe I would like to add here. I think we do also play an important role with respect to youth protection. So, I mean, we all know the use case with buying alcohol, but I could imagine that I can go to a supermarket, use a self-service cashing machine where I can show that I am old enough to buy alcohol or enter a club or buy cigarettes. And it also evolves with respect to social media and also with movies that I want to show or watch. So that will be some kind of major use case within the European Union, having a real good tool to protect youth when it comes around alcohol, social media, age-rated movies. So, of course, probably they might not like that, but it's for their own protection. So I believe it's a good thing.
Okay, for sure. So the EUDI wallet, how will people use it? Will it be a smartphone app? Will it be a browser plugin? How can I imagine how I'm gonna use it?
So in the first step, it will for sure be a smartphone app, because especially because of security considerations, because you have good security hardware in modern smartphones. You already have biometric features there, like Face ID or Touch ID or similar functionality. So I think that it's for sure a smartphone app because the EU says it has to be a smartphone app. But I think there will be other forms of the EUDI wallet in the future, and especially there also will be a digital identity for companies, and that will be some kind of web application because the company does not have a smartphone.
That brings me to my next question. What benefits can companies expect from adopting EUDI early? How will it impact their business processes, for example?
So I believe it will impact their business processes because they can rely on very accurate, mostly state-approved data. So they can really go for, as Stefan already mentioned, digital processes end-to-end. They don't have to, for example, when buying a SIM card, they don't have to copy my driver license or proof of ID in order to give me a SIM card. I can do this within a fully digital process, providing them information that is issued from a dedicated country. So I really know that this person is the person who is standing in front of me. This also applies for KYC processes when opening a bank account. So I believe that companies that are looking into the UDI topic right now will have an advantage to the ones that are waiting until regulation is maybe ready. And of course, in addition to that, it's called UDI because it's European Union. So it opens up a market for up to, I would say, 500 million people, because every country is going to issue a UDI wallet by end of 2026 or later. We will see that. And what we also see is that neighboring countries around the EU are also adopting the technology, or at least the framework, because it gives you the possibility for interoperability. So every UDI wallet on a technical basis or on an interface layer will be the same. So I have access to an unbelievably huge market, and I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the European Union and for the businesses.
Awesome. So YOUNIQX Identity is, of course, an Austrian company. Stefan, why is Austria an attractive location for companies looking to adopt EUDI early? Are there some reasons for that?
Yeah, so Austria has always been very frontrunner in terms of e-government. So that goes back to, I think it was in the early 2000s, where the citizen card, Bürgerkarte, was established, which was the first digital identity in the European Union, so to say. And that evolved into the Handysignatur and now ID Austria. And Austria has a really, really good track record in this space, and has a lot of users already in the ID Austria. And I think that's the reason why Austria is already really well equipped to go this next step. And also businesses in Austria already have the possibility to reach a lot of people by just implementing ID Austria. And this will get a lot of, they will have the opportunity for a bigger market with EUDI wallet once it comes out. So we think that if companies in Austria start to think about implementing EUDI wallet now, that as Sebastian said, they will have a big advantage against everyone else.
Is the EUDI wallet something different to ID Austria, or is it like the version 2.0 of ID Austria?
So that is something, of course, that has to be decided on a political level. But from a, let's say, strategic perspective, the EUDI wallet will be the next evolutionary step of digital identities.
Okay, so like everybody who already is using ID Austria will be able to kind of upgrade to the EUDI, I guess.
We think that there will be some kind of mechanism to get there.
Okay. And when it really is rolled out, I can imagine that apps and websites are offering a new kind of version to log in. Now, as we talked about, we know how to log in with Google or Apple, and then there will be an additional option to log in with EUDI and like bring my data that I really want to bring in to the app or the web service.
Exactly, that will be the case. So, as you said, you're already used to having multiple buttons there which you can use to log into a website. Then you will have a login with EUDI wallet, and maybe all the others will go away. So if you talk to the European Union, I think that's the goal there, to get rid of all the other ones. But of course, on an international market, you also have to provide other means. But I think in my opinion, also, so from a privacy perspective, the EUDI wallet should be the number one button there, and not the other ones you already talked about.
Okay, I see. Yeah, like so Austria was a front runner with ID Austria. Is it correct that each member state will develop their own EUDI wallet individually? And isn't there a risk of problems with fragmentation throughout 27 different countries working on kind of like the same technology?
Yes. So the risk is there for fragmentation, but we think that the EU did a good job with standardizing things. So there's something called the ARF, the Architectural Reference Framework, which is a document that describes all the functionality, all the interfaces, everything a EUDI wallet needs to have and needs to follow in very great detail. So that is one thing that makes sure that all the EUDI wallet in the different member states will interoperate. And you said everyone will develop their own EUDI wallet. That may be not true. So everyone will have a EUDI wallet, and everyone will have their own app for that, or multiple apps in one country. But we think that there will be a few technology providers out there that will provide the basis for the wallets and for the apps. And then everyone, of course, will have their own UI and some additional functionality. But we think that technology providers will provide the basic functionality for the EUDI wallet. The EU also provides a reference implementation that is open source, that can be used by everyone else. I think also this is something that helps interoperability a lot. And of course, everything that is underneath, so on the protocol level, interface level, that is all standardized. So the EU did not invent any protocols themselves. They used standards and protocols that are already there, like, for example, the ISO 18013 the standard that is already implemented in the Austrian E-Ausweise app with the driving license and the vehicle registration card. Mm-hmm. These are all things that really helps interoperability. And besides that, they also have different events where member states can test the interoperability between the EUDI wallets. For example, there is one in December in Brussels, where I think most of the member states that already develop an EUDI wallet will be there and really test each other's wallets against each other. So you can imagine it's a lot of also developers sitting in a room and going from desk to desk and trying out their EU digital wallet with someone else.
Mm. And I guess for YOUNIQX identity as a technology provider, this opens a big new market, I guess. So I guess you won't be just focused on Austria, but on other markets as well.
Absolutely. So we are focusing on the European market, of course. As a technology provider, we are very much interested in providing the technology for Austria, for Liechtenstein. Of course, that would be perfect. But of course, also other countries, EU and non-EU, who are interested in the technology. We are seeking to provide our technologies, especially from the verification point of view, because we believe that verifying an UDI wallet will make a huge difference, and it's as Stefan already mentioned, from a technology point of view, way more complex than doing the simple things that we are currently aware of. So that's the technology we are also focusing and trying to help companies introducing their capability to verify UDI wallet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. As we look to the future, what can we expect from digital identities and credentials? What's your view of the future in terms of digital identity?
It's a good question. I think I got this asked like 1 month ago, and the feedback I got was my answer is boring, but I think I still have the same answer. So I'm assuming that there will be, besides from the credentials we know, other credentials will come. For example, we will have, I would say, information available that can be used like a passport. So it's really cross-border travel. Of course, it's rather easy in the EU because of the Schengen. You don't need to have your ID for travel with you, but that's something that will for sure come. And I'm looking for a future where the smartphone or the UDI wallet will be the centerpiece for you to authenticate securely and digital. And that also gives companies a lot of, we will have the capabilities of reducing fraud significantly, especially from an identity perspective. And maybe when looking into use cases, I don't think that there will be a sole use cases that saves the world. It will be the many that are there, giving me the opportunity to use my UDI wallet on a very regular basis, and getting used to use it instead of having one killer application or killer use case that's going to save us from providing your ID to somebody who you don't want to.
I guess in terms of traveling, one big challenge would be that other regions will accept the EUDI, like the United States or China or other countries.
So the United States are, from that perspective, Apple is pushing very hard there. So they have, I think, almost 13 states already with standardized driver license, following the ISO 18013-5, what Stefan already mentioned. And I think they introduced the ID card like maybe a month ago. So they are really pushing there very, very hard. And as the driver license is already accepted there from a digital point of view, I would assume that I could use my Austrian, for example, driver license in the United States, at least from a technical perspective, not from a regulatory, because now in Austria the driver license is only valid here. So EU legislation is on its way to have the driver license being regulated on a European level. It's not yet that the new directive needs to be incorporated into national law. So, but I guess that would be one of the main topics that I can really use my digital ID, and maybe it's also the passport across border. And I mean, the passports are very well standardized. So will be digital credentials that I can use on a smartphone. And as soon as this is coming or getting more adoption, I would also assume that I can really use it to go to the United States or maybe China not, but we'll see.
Okay, we will find about that later on. Just one use case that just came to my mind is voting. Do you think at some point it will be possible to go voting using EUDI?
In my opinion, yes. I think the technology to have secure e-voting is already there. Other countries already provide this. So if you go to Estonia, for example, e-voting is a reality, or has been a reality for I don't know, 15 years or at least 10 years. So the technology is there. I think it's a question of trust, because people need to trust the process, and I think voting in a democracy needs the highest trust. So that's important. Yeah, it takes a little bit of courage from politicians, because it is a leap forward, so to say. But if we get e-voting, I think this is something that would change a lot, because people who are not able to go somewhere to vote have an extremely, hopefully, easy and accessible way to cast their vote. And in my opinion, this opens up a lot of possibilities for people who may be not able to do everything themselves, for example.
My last question, what's the timeline for EUDI? When do you think will rollout start?
Okay, so there is the legal framework. According to that, every member state must have an EUDI wallet by the end of 2026. I personally think the reality will look different, because, for example, the Netherlands already publicly stated they won't be ready by end of 2026. And if we are talking to member states, then we get the impression that 2026 won't be so. In the end of 2026, the majority of EU member states won't have a EUDI wallet, but I think there will be countries who will have a EUDI wallet by the end of 2026.
Okay, so we are talking about like the next 2 to 3 years until like all the European member states are into the technology.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So Sebastian and Stefan, thanks for sharing your insights in this new silent technology revolution. We are looking forward to be able to use EUDI wallets at some point in the next years. Thanks for the interview.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for having us.